So before I begin the video, I did have a couple people tell me that they don't necessarily want to see any more Resident Evil Requiem stuff, and trust me, I completely agree. I understand. But also there's another set of people who actually do like seeing this stuff, who actually like seeing developer commentary and want me to make videos like this. So for the best of both worlds, future videos that contain stuff like this for Resident Evil Requiem, there will be a spoiler warning in the very beginning of the video. So if you want to go into this game absolutely fresh, not knowing anything, please click off the video now, because the last thing I want to do is ruin that experience for you, and I don't want to do that for you guys. So for now on, I will have these spoiler warnings in the beginning of the video. But if you're going to watch the video, enjoy the video. There was some pretty interesting things said, and that's pretty much all I have to say. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are having an amazing day so far. So today we actually have what it looks like to be a 2-day-old video that completely slipped under my radar, only because it didn't necessarily get a lot of views. So there's not a lot of talk about it, so I didn't necessarily know anything about this. This was provided by two lovely individuals. I appreciate you guys for providing me this information. Apparently some cool things was mentioned in this interview specifically. I haven't watched this at all yet. I figured we should watch this together. Let's move on to the video.
Good evening. It's so nice.
Let me turn up the volume a little bit here.
I'll make breaks. So next to me, I hope I pronounce it right, Masato Kumazawa.
Okay.
And
So
Koshi
let me put on the
Nakanishi.
Hi.
Yep, there's Nakanishi right there.
What
Yep,
grade
yep.
would you give me on my pronunciation?
Here, let me turn off the captions instead.
Perfect.
ありがとうございます。I'd like you to introduce yourselves briefly to the community, what your role is at Capcom, and what
I
your
know
role
he's
is in
the
development
director.
of Resident Evil
カプコンで
Requiem.
の役職と今回のゲームへの関わり方について説明してください。
どっちか僕から。はい
By the way,
僕は
apparently this is
今回はディ
completely
レクター担当
translated
して
in
ます
English afterwards.
So I'm the director of Resident Evil Requiem.
はい、同じくレクイエムでプロデューサーしている熊沢
Yeah, so he's the creative
I'm
director
the
for
producer of
Requiem. He
Resident
also
Evil
did
Requiem.
Revelations 1.
Yes,
And I
it
believe
must be a very busy time for you right now as the producer
RE5?
and
No, I
creative
could be wrong.
director.
Re-
So
Resident
we
Evil 7. It was 7,
appreciate
my bad.
You taking the time to stop by and talk to
Had a
us.
brain fart for a
この
second there.
忙しい時期にわざわざドイツまで来ていただいてお話しできるのは大変光栄です。ありがとうございます。
ノープロブレム
Here at Gamescom, people can get a very special insight into the game. What did you bring to Gamescom for this week? And what part of Resident Evil Requiem will we get to see?
今回使用できる範囲について教えてください。ゲームのどの辺の部分になるのでしょうか。
そうですね、今回遊んでいただけるデモについてはゲーム序盤の、グレースの、パートとなっています
Okay, so he's like the producer
So what we've
for
brought to
RE
Gamescom is
Requiem.
a section from the start of the game, and you're playing as the protagonist, Grace.
レジデントイビルといえば、戦闘だったりとか謎解きリソースマネジメントいろんな要素あるんですけれども、今回その中でも恐怖っていうところをより感じていただけるデモになっていると思います。
Resident Evil, of course, has many elements to it, such as puzzle solving, action, combat, resource management.
Yes, it
The
does.
Gamescom demo is actually quite focused on horror, and it's quite a scary part of the game.
Yeah,
It looks scary.
It's
Yeah,
amazing,
the
and I
demo
had the chance to talk to some people
looks terrifying
who
for
came
sure.
out of the booth, and they were telling me they
From what we saw,
started
at
to be
least.
afraid of everything, even of the horse.
遊んだユーザーのお話を聞いていると、馬の像まで全部が怖く見えるとの意見をたくさんもらいました。
とても嬉しい話ですね
I'm really glad to hear that.
Okay, great. Now, in a live stream, since we're live now, there's a constant in and outflow of people. So for those maybe not familiar yet with Resident Evil, could you identify the core gameplay elements? And can you provide us with information on new features?
今回のタイトルの基礎となる要素と、もしあれば
okay.
今回新規で追加されている要
We're
素
gonna
に
get
ついて
something
教えてくだ
cryptic?
さい。
Probably.
まあそうですねデモでやってる通りまずはやっぱりホラーでデモのシーンはね特にホラーにフォーカスしてるシーンでもうなんですかどこだかちょっと挟んだ
大丈夫。
どこだかわかんないところで突然目が覚めるとで自分は何も持ってない
It's kind of
で
interesting
そこさらに
because
もわけのわからないものが追いかけ回されると
I wonder if we're gonna get the demo we've seen, or is it gonna be like some separate
とか謎と
entity completely from like
あ
the
のこ
demo,
の
like
馬
away
像
from
は
the
一体何だ
demo.
ろうみたいなのを調べるまあそういう要素が
I'm
入って
really interested if
So
we're
the
gonna see
section of
like
the
a
game that we're showing is actually a perfect demonstration because you get a feel for all the
made a
different
demo.
elements of the game. As Grace, you wake up, you've been sort of taken, spirited away into this unknown location. You don't know where
Very
you are, what's
groggy,
happening
yeah.
to you, who's taken you, what is this scary horse statue doing here? You know, there's all kinds of things to discover, and you're going to find the key Resident Evil features that everyone knows and loves, such as we mentioned earlier, exploring the area to find out where you are,
Of course.
trying to find items and solve puzzles, and
Yeah.
see if you can make progress. So all of the classic Resident Evil DNA is fully present in the game.
Perfect.
yeah.
で、新規要素の方です
こうやっていいですかまあ新規要素で質問とはちょっと違うかもしれんけど実はこのデモの中で脱出に必要なアイテムってのはあるんですけどもそれ以外にもちょっとした隠しファイルみたい
Back
な
to what I was saying.
あったりするんで
I think we're gonna get like a
頑張って
maiden-like
探索すれ
demo
ば
for
見つけること
Requiem.
ができ
I
る
really do think
In
it's gonna
terms
be
of
like a
the items
separate
you can
thing.
discover in this section, of course, we have the items you need to find in order to make your way through and escape. But if you get a chance to play the demo, we've also hidden a few Easter eggs, such as files that you can read and have some details about the background of the story. So anyone playing at Gamescom, I'd encourage them to
There
explore and try and find
was a
everything.
file
Great.
in the beginning.
あと
Someone
大きいのが
kept
やっぱり
tabs
カ
for
メラを
Grace. I
視
remember
点を
reading
切り替え
that,
られ
but
るようになったの
that's
が
the only
ゲー
thing
ムの
I've seen
一つ
people
が大きい
pick up so far.
In terms of new features, I think the biggest new one is that you can freely change the camera perspective between first person and third person at any time. In the
Which
game.
is cool.
Yeah, that's
I
a
do
really
like the
interesting
perspective
feature,
changes,
giving people the choice to discover it in a more action-like way, probably. And the other one I heard is even scarier because your range is smaller. It's a very interesting decision. So we were wondering what is the origin of the idea to offer this choice to the player.
Probably
このカメラを
Village,
変
you
えら
know?
れる要
They
素を
kind of
入れ
experimented
た
it on
背景
Village.
理由について教えてください。アクションやホラーよりの選択肢もあるように感じたのですが、いかがでしょうか。
そうですね。やっぱり一番は一人称が好きな方でも三人称が好きな方でもどちらでも楽しめるようにしたいっていうのがやっぱり出発点で
Dude,
す。
this game's gonna be
The
great.
main reason that we considered adding this feature was that we know that there are both types of players out there.
Ah,
There are Resident
True.
Evil players and fans who love the first-person perspective, and at the same time, there are those who prefer to have the third-person view. And we felt that this was a good way to satisfy both types of
Yeah.
player.
はい、そうですね。セ
Yeah,
ブンとかビレッ
honestly,
ジでイーサン
if you ask around the perspectives, the amount of
一人称視
different
点で
answers I would get
高い
between
ゲームプレ
first
イを
and third is
当時
crazy.
はやってたんですけれども、一方でリメイクでの2とか
I personally am going to
で
play in third
三人称視点で
because I love
楽しめる
third.
作品っていうのが同時に
Although
展開して
the
きたの
first
で、
person
まあその2つを
looks interesting
どっち
too.
も
So on my second
今回は
playthrough, I'm
遊べるよう
going
に
to
した
play
ら
it in first for sure.
まあレクイエムいっぱいたくさんの人が遊んでいただけるんじゃないかなと思ってました。
The past few years, we've released both the Resident Evil 7 and Village games, which were first-person perspective, featuring
Yes.
Ethan Winters as the protagonist. And at the same time, we had a sub-series of remakes of Resident Evil 2, 3, and 4, and those were all third-person camera. And I think that both games have their player bases and their fans. And I just thought that the best way to get as many fans on board as possible with the ninth
combine them,
mainline
yeah.
title was to give them both options from the recent games.
I think it's a really interesting idea because, like you say, it's totally right. The games were released around a time where you had this and that option. Now we have both. So in terms of development, I can imagine it might be really challenging.
I think third is
So
more popular.
I was wondering what was the technical development
what
of
I've
this
been
feature like,
seeing.
because you have aspects of designing the environment that has to be adjustable to both perspectives,
this game
and also in terms of
specifically-
gameplay, because it might affect how people perceive the situations.
まあカメラ視点が
But for this game specifically, I did hear a lot of people
技術面やゲームプレイデザイン
wanting to be in
レベルデザイン
first
への
person.
影響などあったのでしょうか。
そうですね、まあ、レベルデザインというか体験そのものはやっぱり主観視点にすることでとにかくもう怖い敵が目の前に見えるみたいな没入感が上がるのはもう間違いないんですけども一方 TPS のサード、カメラ視点でやった時は、キャラクターが見えるんですよね。で今回FPS 視点ではやってない TPS 視点専用のアニメーション怖がるキャラクターアニメーションとかを入れてて、これによって本当は TPS
I can't wait for the demo. I cannot wait for
キャラクターが怖がるからなんなら
whenever they
怖いみ
release this
たいな
demo.
そういうまた別の
I
楽し
think
み
we're
方
gonna
も
get
で
it
きる
in
んで
near
でき
November
れば
though. Because someone did bring up a great point why we didn't get a demo
Yeah, it was an
yet, or why
interesting
we're not
challenge
getting a demo
because when you're
yet.
in first-person perspective, it's fully immersive. You're seeing
Yeah.
through the eyes of the character, and everything looks closer, like it's right in front of you. And
Yeah, it's more
probably
immersive,
the more
I agree.
scary option.
Definitely.
At the same time, whenever you have the third-person perspective, you see the character on screen. You're a little bit removed, so it should be less frightening. But actually, we took care to add extra animations to the character.
Like the
Whenever
stumbling,
you're seeing
yeah.
her on screen in
Yeah.
third person, because there's no point in doing it in first person, you wouldn't see it. But the way she reacts to things and looks scared at things
I
in the
don't
third
agree
person
with that.
perspective, I think it gives you a kind of emotional transference, and
Oh.
you feel scared on her behalf
I
because you
don't
see her
agree
looking
with that. I
terrified.
feel
So
like
we had to think about the different ways to present the fear aspect depending on the camera option.
Oh, that's so interesting.
so. This is specifically why I switched to third instead of the first person, because in the third person, Grace actually reacts to what is going on in the scenario. Where if you put it in first person, they completely remove it. There is no reaction whatsoever from Grace, and I do like the added touch when my character is reacting to certain situations. You know what I mean? Because their whole point was, the reason why they're not adding Leon is because they don't want our characters to be scared. But when we switch it to first person, it seems like Grace isn't necessarily reacting to the situation, as in like physically. In comparison to third person where she's like stumbling and stuff, that's completely removed in the first person. That's exactly why I switched it to third, because I like seeing stuff like that. I like seeing my character react to certain situations, regardless of how I feel or not, if I'm feeling scared or not. I do like my characters to react a certain way, but I think it's cool either way. But I do think that the first person should have added some sort of animation that, our character is scared, something.
It's like using mirror neurons that we humans have to make us more frightened because we see another person being scared, right?
他の人間が怖がっているのを見るとこちらまで怖がるっていう現象をサードの方では利用したということですね。非常に面白いです。
Very interesting thought. I like that. Yeah.
In a way,
third
I
person,
agree.
as you said,
In a way, I do agree, because if we see a character scared, we might be scared with them, or we might be annoyed because in a lot of scenarios, I feel like if my character is just stumbling the entire time, I would feel a little frustrated. Maybe not at the first playthrough, second playthrough. Yes. So that's why it's kind of risky, which is probably why they balanced it out in the first person. Who knows? But I'd rather have my character react to certain situations, especially when it's like a new character who never like experienced like an apocalypse before or a virus or whatsoever. I want her to kind of act accordingly to the situation. So I think I'm going to put third person because of that reason alone, but I can understand why people do want to play this game in first person. That's completely fine, trust me, because the first person looks as phenomenal as the third, don't get me wrong.
we see the main character, Grace. And who is Grace? I mean, we know after today who she is, but why did you decide to make her the protagonist?
主人公が見えるということで、グレイスについてなんですけど、どういう人物で、なぜ彼女を今回の主人公にしたんですか？
グレースは、賢い知的な子なんですけども、ちょっと内向的です。そういう普通のいわゆる一般人が主人公ですね。で、母親が
Such a great trailer. I don't know if you guys remember, but I still have the short on the channel. I freaked out when they showed this trailer. I was extremely in denial because it does look like a RANT engine game, but I was super in denial because we weren't getting
sort of a normal person, as it were, as a protagonist. She's smart, intelligent, but she's a little shy and reserved as well. And she comes across, I think, as quite a relatable person. But her connection to the overall storyline of Resident Evil is that her mother is Alicia Ashcroft, who featured in Resident Evil Outbreak and was involved in the Raccoon City incident.
Yes, yes.
で、彼女は、ね、
Just
昨
huge.
日の、オープニングナイトライブのトレーラーでも出てたんですけども、
I love the Outbreak games, by the way. They were amazing games. They were really, really good games.
バイオウイルスを追っかけていって、そのせいで何者かに殺されてしまいます。
As we saw in the opening night live exclusive clip, which showed a little bit of a story sequence between Grace and her mother, some sort of sinister goings on happened in the aftermath of the Raccoon City incident, and this ultimately led to her mother Alyssa dying.
で、アリサは一体こう何を知ってしまったのか、なんで殺されたのか、それを物語の中で知っていくのが 娘のグレース。
It's crazy.
So
You're
as her daughter,
sending
naturally,
her.
Grace wants to know what happened to my mother, why did she die, who did this to her. So the motivation for her involvement in the story is to really figure out what happened.
I
Which is
think
crazy. Why would you send her
especially
there?
after
It's a little
yesterday's
shady.
trailer, her motivation is so much clearer now, and it was really just as feedback, it was really interesting to see her interacting with her mother, because you now understand all the other content we've seen much better.
はい、ONL の映像で非常にモチベーションがクリアになりましたので、母親とのインタラクションが見れてすごく
Yeah,
良か
we
ったです。
didn't know.
はい、昨日の映像もですね、
Prior to the last trailer
やっぱり
that
グレースの
Grace was
ことをもっ
actually
と知
with
ってほ
her.
しいっていう思いがあって、
That
ああいう
wasn't
映像をちょっとご
specifically
用意した
clear,
んです
but
け
now
ど
we know that she
は
was
い、そういったと
actually
ころ、
with
昨日の
Alyssa,
映像
which
か
is
らもそういったと
crazy.
ころをぜひ過去、グレースの過去っていうところを感じていただけると
8
嬉し
years
い。
before.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that because the reason we wanted to show this particular clip at Opening Night Live was, Grace is a new character.
Yeah.
And we're not quite familiar with her yet, so showing you a glimpse into her past was a way for us to help you feel closer to her and look forward to playing as her.
Yeah, it definitely worked for me and our colleagues, yes.
Right.
Yeah, she seems interesting so far.
And she's
Got me
different
curious
though
about
from
her.
the other protagonists that we've known, like Chris and Jill and Ethan. What are her weaknesses, but what are also Grace's strengths?
これまでの主人公とはクリスや
That's a
ジ
good
ルまたは
question.
イーサンとは一味違うキャラクター性があると思うんですけど、彼女の強みまたは弱みは何ですか？
そうですね。彼女はさっきの母親の事件もあって FBI 分析官になってます。なんでクリスとかジルほど戦闘は得意ではないんですけど、イーサンよりは少しは銃の扱いとかがうまい。
So she was influenced by her mother's death to become an FBI agent. She's an FBI analyst.
Okay.
So that means that she has undergone some weapons training in the course of becoming an agent. So while she's not quite as competent with a handgun as some of the more heroic characters you mentioned, I think she can handle herself ultimately a little bit better than Ethan, who really doesn't have any background in that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
she has a different strengths and weaknesses compared to those characters.
Yeah, no surprise there. She is part of the FBI. It would be kind of weird for her to not have some sort of training, But hearing them mention that she has more training than Ethan is pretty interesting. That means we might see some things she might do that Ethan couldn't.
I think
Which
one
would
of the
make
big
sense.
differences is, unlike the past characters like Chris or Leon, who've been through many so-called biohazard situations, and every time a new one happens, they kind of have a bit of a here we go again sort of approach to it. This is the first time Grace has been involved in anything this crazy or dangerous, and she's truly terrified for her life in this scenario. So I think that when you play as her, you really feel terrified on her behalf.
Yeah. Oh, then it's... did you want to say something? Did I interrupt?
Is it,
とはいえグレースはずっと弱いままこのデモみたいなわけじゃなくて、やっぱりゲームのいろんな体験を通じて少し
Being
ずつ成
scared,
長
being
していく
hung
んですね。
upside down,
なんでプレイヤー
blood
は
loss,
この
all
グレース
that,
の成長を一緒に
Just
経験できる
crazy.
っていうのは
Imagine waking
この
up
ゲ
in a
ームに
scenario
魅力
like
的なと
that.
ころだと思ってます。
I think one of the
Grace's
great parts of the
perspective.
game is that you'll be able to join Grace on her journey as she gets stronger. Because, as you mentioned, she's terrified and sort of defenseless at the start of the game, which you can experience at the Gamescom demo. But you'll go on a journey with her where she gets used to it, she gets stronger, she finds resources, she finds weapons, and eventually she will be able to overcome it. And that's kind of the journey you're going to join her on.
Great, that's very interesting. And earlier, in front of the stage, I was talking to a young lady who said it will be her first Resident Evil experience. So maybe it's also a good basis for people who are, also just as feedback, who are joining the game newly.
先ほど若い女性の人と話してたら、実は今回初めて遊ぶバイオハザードになるので、そういった方にもグレースと同じ感覚でフレッシュな感じで入ってもらえる仕様になっているということですね。
そうですね。もちろんそうですね。でストーリー的にもね、ラクーンシティを出してるとか、さっきの
Yeah, just this whole scenario here. Imagine just waking up upside down one day, not knowing where you are.
より深く楽しみですけど、知らなくてもレクイエムはもちろん
We don't even know if she's in the US at that point, She could be somewhere else completely different that we don't know about.
Yeah, that's right. There's no need to worry about catching up, or do I have to go and find a second-hand copy of Outbreak and figure out that storyline to understand the game. If you're a fan who knows the lore and the older games and you know the background, of course, there's plenty of connections and Easter eggs that you're really going to enjoy. But at the
Nice.
same time, if you're new to the series, you don't have to worry too much about it. The game is going to
Cool.
provide
Pick you up.
catch you up to the storyline you need to know, and you'll be able to enjoy it on its own terms.
Great, I'm looking forward to play it. And in the gameplay demo that we can play here at the Gamescom, Grace is being chased by a terrifying creature. Now, I understand we don't want to disclose too much, but what can you tell us about,
今回の
Nothing.
デモでグレースは何者かのクリーチャーに追われていると思うんですけど、現時点で言える詳細は少ないのは分かってるんですけど、何か教えてもらえるのでしょうか。
そうですね。やっぱり恐怖を感じていただく
Who
た
do
め
you
に、
guys Alyssa is? Who do you guys
もう
think
何者かわから
Alyssa
ない
is?
不気味な存在として今回大型のクリーチャーの方が登場してるんですけれども、
Do you guys think it's Lisa
もちろん
Trevor?
それ以外に
Do
も
you
し
guys
っかり
think it's
戦闘で倒せるクリーチャーだったりとか、も登場しますし、なんだったらね6月の
I'm sorry, did I say
最初のトレーラ
Alyssa?
ー
Who do you think that
ちょっとなんか
monster is?
ゾン
Do
ビ
you
みたいな
think
の
is
が
it
出たりとか
Alyssa?
しますんで
Or do you think it's Lisa
そうい
Trevor
った
or
戦闘
someone
部
else
分もしっか
completely
り
different?
今後の情報でお伝えできればなとは思っております。
Yeah, the creature is very mysterious, especially because Grace has no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
So when you first see her standing in front of you, it's this very creepy, inhuman, somehow human-looking thing. And as you said correctly, we don't really want to spoil too much because it's be great for the
Yeah,
fans
no,
to
we
be
don't
able
like
to
that.
experience it for themselves. But in addition to this creature, there's also going to be, of course, other enemy types. You may have noticed in the trailer we showed earlier this year in June, maybe flashes of zombies or something like that, classic style. So
Yes.
you can look forward to a variety of combat encounters.
Oh, classic
I hope that a lot of
style?
people will have a great, scary time with that guy and all the other creatures inside the
Okay.
game. Maybe first that and then it with a
Yeah.
question. Yeah.
ぜひ今回のクリーチャーや他の敵にいろんな人に怖がってもらいたい思いは私にもありますので。
Classic style.
And since we're now inside the topic of the setting and the creatures, we're back in Raccoon City. Yeah.
設定といえばですけど、今回久しぶりにラクーンシティに戻りました。
So fans who played past titles, I hope it will feel like coming home, I guess, and brings back memories. Can you explain why, after all these years, we're returning to Raccoon City, and if possible, what awaits us there?
長年遊んでいるファンにとってはホームカミングのような嬉しい出来事だと思うんですけど、この30年後のラクーンシティはどういう風になって何が起きているか教えてもらえることはありますでしょうか。
その前にちょっと質問答える前に、そうラクーンシティをレクイエム登場
Just
するんですけど
completely
も、
slips up
まあ
and
舞
just
台はラ
says
クーン
something
シ
he's
ティ
not
だけじゃな
supposed
く
to.
て、他にも実はあるんですよね。で今回のデモで、扱っているところもあれは出てるのかな、レンウッドで療養所。
療養所
出てるね。はい。違う、レンウッドなかった。療養所ですね。
ローレス
はい
ヒルです。
間違えました。
はい
ローレス療養所。
はい
だから今回のデモの舞台はラクーンシティじゃないんですよ。よくねラクーンシティの割には今回のデモの場所って全然壊れてないよねっていうユーザーいらっしゃるんですけど、あそこはまた違う場所になってます。
Before I answer your question, I wanted to clarify that actually the area you see in the demo at Gamescom is actually not set in Raccoon City.
Yeah.
We've had some people online
Yeah.
saying, hey, that place doesn't look particularly destroyed. What's going on there? It looks very new. Raccoon City.
Somebody in the comments section on my last video said something really, really interesting. And they said, if you look at the lights, it looks like you're in London. I obviously never been to the UK. I've never been there. So I don't know how the lights look like over there. But apparently the game or where the demo takes place, it takes place in London, in the UK somewhere, in Europe, which is actually super interesting. I wouldn't have picked up on that. I gotta look for that comment. If it's not on here, that means I couldn't find it, but it was a really interesting comment. I'm like, holy shit, I didn't know that.
Is one of the major settings of
So
the game.
she's
but you
probably
will
not
go
even
to
the
other
US.
locations, and the sort of the clinic type
At that
location
point.
that you're in the Gamescom demo is actually not in Raccoon City.
Okay.
So it was just to make sure that the fans understand the difference
Yeah.
between the locations.
But this we knew already, and also the Wrenwood Hotel is also not in Raccoon City. I had a video. I don't know if it's my last or my the second to last video where I said that it is in Raccoon City. I thought the Wrenwood Hotel was 100% in Raccoon City, but no, it is not. Apparently, the official description is it's somewhere in the United States, whatever the hell that means. But at least we know it's in the U.S. somewhere. But it is not in Raccoon City. Just to make that clear.
On to your question itself about the city.
で質問ですね。でラクーンシティ何が起きるか、何が待ってるかどうなってるかね楽しみだと思うんですけど、残念ながら 今ここで言えることはないんで、一つだけちょっと言えるのは皆さんの期待しているものがあります。ここはお約束できると思います。
As for what's waiting for us in Raccoon City, as with a lot of things, we really want to keep our lips as tight as possible and not go into too much detail. But I will say that what you want from a return to Raccoon City is definitely waiting for you, and we will definitely meet your expectations. So I hope you look forward to it.
What we want to see in Raccoon City will definitely be there. That could mean a lot of things. In Raccoon City specifically, what is the one thing we think about that we wanted in a particular remake that they completely removed? The clock tower. Oh my god. I really do think they might actually put in the clock tower this time. Because it's like sort of like their makeup for not including it in the remake, which I can probably 100% see. Also that, maybe the park from RE3 Nemesis. What else is missing? Obviously we're going to go back to the RPD, maybe some sections of the city itself that we haven't been through yet. Some sections from RE2 Remake, like all that can be reused. All those assets from Raccoon City that we already had in the original games can be used, and you built on top of that with other assets like, you know, the clock tower, for example. Maybe go back to the hospital. There's a lot of possibilities, but I think there's another location we might go back to that hasn't been said, and I think we might go back to the Spencer Mansion. I know it has been completely nuked in, you know, the original Resident Evil and Resident Evil Remake, but we all thought the same for Raccoon City. I thought that place was completely obliterated, but no, but I think the Spencer Mansion might be in ruins somewhere in the Arklay Forest, you know, in the Arklay Mountains. So I kind of am expecting some sort of Spencer Mansion something, you know, which is going to be crazy.
Me personally, I can say I look forward to it a lot, to explore it. For me, it was already a great experience to see in the remake of Resident Evil 2, for example, how it was beautifully restored. So I am really excited to return and to see more. Yeah.
はい、すでにバイオハザード2のリメイクなどで一度高スペックのグラフィックでラクーンシティが描写されているので、
That's crazy.
そのさらに進んだ設定になるのを見るのは非常に楽しみです。
進んでますからね、こうですね。
Yeah.
So we
You
can
can see
expect
here
maybe the return of the parking
a
lot.
glimpse of how it's going to look.
Yeah, great T-shirts.
A lot of places.
And yeah, fascinating. So
Kendo
thank you
shop,
so much
maybe.
for the great insights into Resident Evil Requiem. And is there anything else that you would like to share with the fans that are watching right now as our last question?
最後に配信をご覧の皆さんに何か伝えたいメッセージやコメントがあればお願いします。
The Nemesis pod, that would be actually insane. Like the theater and the things that can actually, Jill's apartment, maybe like the things they can add or we might see in Raccoon City, especially if you're like a classic fan. We're gonna nitpick so much of what we're gonna see. There's gonna be so many Easter eggs and I can't wait to pick it apart. This is going to be a treat for a lot of us OG fans who played all the games, but this is going to be actually amazing and I cannot wait.
そうですね。この
For
ゲ
this
ーム
game.
コムでもそうなんですけども、もうものすごい反響をいただいてて、それが驚いてるし、今後作っていくためのものすごい励みになってますので、ファンの皆さんにお礼言いたいと思います。ありがとうございます。
I'd like to say thank you to the fans because coming to shows like this, Gamescom here in Cologne, seeing the incredible reaction to players who finally get their hands on the game, you know, it really gives us the emotional support and the extra positive push that we need to work hard on the last stages of the game development. So thank you to the fans for all your passionate support.
Yeah. And it's soon. It's not that long. 27th of February. We're still waiting.
6
We're all
months from
excited.
now,
まだ
yeah.
多分開発
This
の
video's upload 6
途中
months.
ですけど、もう2月は遠くないので待ち遠しいではあるんですけど、
プレッシャー
短いでも、
はい
短いような長いような。
ちょっとプレッシャーを与えられる。
プレッシャーが
Yeah,
Pressure.
it's not that long, so we do have a lot of pressure on us to make sure we finish it on time.
Yeah, so we keep our fingers crossed and wish you all the best. Thank you so much for the time spending with us. We know there's so much pressure on you, so even more thanks so much for taking the time to talk with me and with the community. And thanks to all the team, of course, because it must be a huge team you're working with. Thanks to everybody from this team. And yeah.
はい、開発チーム一同を含めお二人もせっかくこの忙しい時期にドイツまで来ていただいて質問に答えていただいてありがとうございました。大変光栄です。
Yeah, we can't wait to see the game.
はい、もう待ち遠しい楽しみです。
そうですね。
来てよかったです。
すごい 皆さんが楽しんでもらえてる姿を直に見るのはすごいこちらも励みになるので、はい、来てよかったなと思い
Yeah,
ます。
thank you. We're very glad we could come and join you because, as you know,
course.
I would like to second it and say that being able to see the players enjoy the game is really what gives us the motivation we need. So, thank you.
Yeah, this was pretty cool. I like this a lot. This was a pretty cool read. I'm glad you guys actually sent me this. But this was really, really interesting, especially that Raccoon City quote that we are going to see stuff that we are expecting to see. Probably not everything. I doubt it's going to be everything. I will be mind blown if we see every single thing that we expect to be in Raccoon City to show up in Requiem. I think I said that wrong. Oops. You know what I mean. But I can't wait for this game to come out. It looks really, really interesting. But if you guys like the content, make sure to like the video. And if you are new to the channel and don't want to miss any more Resident Evil content, make sure to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you will not miss any more Resident Evil content. But I want you guys to take care of yourselves. Please drink plenty of water, and I'm going to catch you guys in the next time. And until then, peace.